I'm Harry Anagnostaras Adams. I'm the Executive Chairman of Kefi Minerals. Thank you for attending. I've been told to be particularly immobile and stand here right next to these microphones because of all the background noise so that the recording can actually work. So I'll do my best. If you see me wandering around to talk to anybody, tell me to get back here and stand next to the microphones. We are an emerging gold miner in the Arabian-Nubian Shield. What does that mean? It means a piece of the world's, a region in the world which we believe will become just as important a gold-producing region as, say, Western Australia. Same geology, and we believe the same phenomenon will occur in the Arabian-Nubian Shield as occurred in the 1970s, 80s in Western Australia, which went from a handful of mines to scores of mines through the introduction of open pit mining to former narrow vein workings and the introduction of processing technology known as cyanidation. So this will happen, and we are there to be part of the emergence of that region as an important mining region and to be in on the ground floor, you might say. We started in Saudi Arabia, where we have a pipeline of licenses coming through, and we have, I hope you can hear me, can you? Yeah. We have we've been granted 5 or 6 licenses and dropped most of them after some quick work to check them out, but we've made a discovery on one which we're looking to develop into the first operation for us in Saudi Arabia. A gold discovery in a place called Jibal Qutman, and we are about to start drilling an area that we were granted at the end of last year, a place called Hawiya, where there's a huge target there which has never been tested, and we're looking forward to drill test ourselves. On the other side of the Red Sea, in the same geological district in Ethiopia, we made an acquisition in December. I think we settled the 75% acquisition at the last day of December 2013. So it's nearly 2 years since we acquired that project. In the same belt, as I said, but a very ripe project that was ready purportedly to go ahead, but had stumbled at the last, the last lap in putting together its financing. And we picked it up, if you like, opportunistically to reshape the project and to finance it and get it going. That's at Tula Kapi. And this year, if you notice the milestones there on that, towards the bottom of that slide, you can see that it's been a year of sort of revving it up. April, full permitting. June, full bankable definitive feasibility study. October, contractors appointed, they're now working on the ground, running around. November, the government confirmed it's taking an equity position in the project, about 25% shareholding they'll have. And now, this next month we're going into to complete the final members of the financing syndicate. That's what it looks like, that area. The person who took the photo was actually standing on the deposit called Tula Kapi. The little ravines and gullies are coffee areas. The higher trees are shade trees and the lower trees are the coffee trees. And you can see housing here and there scattered through the area. Those people will be moved off our 7 square kilometre site to other areas they've already chosen to be moved to, so that we can develop this for the gold mining operation. Ethiopia, 15 years of 7 to 10% GDP growth. That's not an accident. That's a highly driven, determined government to develop their country. And their determination, if you like, has to some extent now been directed at our sector. They want this sector to get going because they want the foreign currency earnings of it. They're hungry for foreign currency. They're growing so fast, and they see that's the main contribution the gold sector can make. and ours is the first cab off the rank. They've had a couple of disappointments that haven't got going, and they want this one to get going. So therefore they're putting in equity as well and doing other things to do their best within reason to make sure this goes ahead. Tula Kapi is being set up to be a dividend payer. That's what it's being set up to be. Repay its debts for project financing that we're assembling now, and to pay dividends. Saudi Arabia is a much bigger, longer game. It's owning a minority share of a province. Tula Kapi is owning a majority share of a project. And the two combined provide what we think is a realistic ambition to be a dividend payer with huge upside. And the guy at the back of the room, the exploration director, Jeff Rayner, is the guy, if you like, responsible for delivering that discovery upside. And in Perth at the moment, we have the head of operations, the mine builder, who's focused with the contractors and the other people in the building team on delivering the development, operation and dividend stream, ultimately from Tula Kapi. My objective in this discussion is to keep this pretty short and then to encourage questions. That's what I'd like to do. So I'll try to keep this moving at a fairly rapid pace and then pull up and just have a discussion on any questions. Saudi Arabia, obviously a different type of landscape. In terms of what we're doing first as a first cab off the rank, we're focusing on the development of our discovery in a place called Jibal Qutman, where about $30 million is required for the development, 75% of which it appears will be lent by the development agency at a concessional interest rate of 2%, because they're so keen for that gold sector to get going as well. We're the only people who've been granted licenses in the last few years, partly because of the technical sincerity, integrity of our work. We're actually on the ground doing real work, led by Jeff, and partly because of the, if you like, the gravitas of our 60% partner, one of the leading families in Saudi Arabia. You know, they've got a balance sheet and a name which commands respect from the authorities, as compared with a lot of the people who've come knocking on the door and have neither the local name nor the balance sheet to show that they can actually spend the money. So we feel we've got a sort of a wonderful platform to build from, but in the short term, if you like, the key drivers are Tula Kapi to complete its financing, which we're now halfway through, and the other half imminently, and the other driver to get the show on the road at Jibal Qutman to self-fund the opening up of a whole province. The exploration programs in Saudi Arabia to be funded by the development of Jibal Qutman. So we're looking to have a self-funded exploration of a huge province in Saudi, plus operations, cash flows, ultimately dividend paying from Tula Kapi. Some numbers, a bit of detail there, but in my opinion, it provides the heart of the short-term drivers of the numbers, focusing on Tula Kapi in particular. At $1,000 gold, up to $1,400 gold, and you can form your own opinion on where it will be. The consensus amongst the investment community, for what it's worth, is in the $1,200–1,300 range for the foreseeable future. But there it is at 1,000 up to 1,400 to give you a bit of a bandwidth. The payback, quite a healthy payback, robust project. EBITDA, again, very healthy, 35 to 74 within that range of gold prices. The free cash flow after servicing all the project finance, the royalties, the taxes, everything, $13 million at the $1,000 gold price. That's actually more than our market cap today. Up to 3 times that, $40 million at $1,400 gold. So I think you've got the whole sort of key numerics, at least from my point of view, from an investor's perspective, on Tula Kapi alone, ignoring the underground resource at Tula Kapi, ignoring the satellite deposits around Tula Kapi, ignoring the Saudi Arabian venture, just focusing, if you like, on the bankers' numbers of Tula Kapi. Estimated funding, all at the project level. We started with a project that we were told would require $289 million to develop by the people who sold it to us. We turned that 289 into 176 on an apples for apples basis, owner operation type basis. And then the 176 we turned into 129 by getting the large contracting companies who are providing the trucking fleet and other infrastructure to take 47 odd million onto their balance sheet and then to be paid through production and delivery of results in the future. So that brought it down to 129. The 129 now down to about 110 by virtue of the government's commitment. The banks, we're looking at 70 odd now. The next cab off the rank is to bolt the banks down on their terms, and then we can bolt down the stream, the gold stream guys. You can't bolt them all down at the same moment. Obviously, you have to bolt them down carefully in a sequence and then make sure the rest of it actually fits so that no one party contradicts or rejects, if you like, the terms with the other party. So there's a fair bit of going around in a circle, making sure it actually does bolt together as a syndicate that is comfortable with each other. If I may say, it's a first-class syndicate. You know, the government as a partner, the Al Rashids as a partner in Saudi Arabia, the mining contractor and processing contractor are second to none in Australia or Africa. And the banks and the streamer we're working with are all first-class mining people in terms of financing. What I've just been explaining about how we've been bringing the task down into a syndicate shape is summarised in a sort of a tabular form here. The range for debt versus stream, you know, there has to be some, we've left some flexibility there just to move one up slightly or down or out or whatever as we cobble sort of the last pieces of the jigsaw into place. And again, the market cap, in my view, ridiculously low, which is, I suppose, a symptom of the market, a symptom of prevailing sense of fear about anything that's not already signed up, and also the fact that one of the institutional shareholders in the company literally just dumped over, I don't know, 80 million odd shares in the last few weeks, along with other shares in all AIM mining stocks being dumped at the same time by the same institution. So if you're a student of capital markets and you're waiting to see signals of times to buy, I suspect large institutions dumping relentlessly in an indiscriminate fashion a particular sector is a sign, if nothing else. The last slide, just the milestones we're at. I believe I've probably touched on most of them. Looking forward, appointment of the financiers, we're in the thick of it now. Again, as I said, you know, needing to, for example, this week's agenda with the banks is let's make sure the whole structure is solid and everyone gets paid out properly on time at $850 gold. So we go right around everybody and make sure it all works at $850 gold. We've got to make sure it's robust under a worst case scenario. So when we go around and make sure everyone's comfortable, then we look at the next set of terms. So it's cobbling together the final pieces of a syndicate to move into construction shortly. On the other side of the Red Sea, imminent steps are, we've been invited now to submit the mining licence application for Jibal Qutman to move that along, and we're looking to do that as soon as we can. And in Hawiyah, having just finished up our drilling program and refreshed our resources at Jibal Qutman, we can now look to move our field teams over to Hawiyah to start drilling that very large target. As I said earlier, the financing of Tula Kapi, all but done. I mean, one can't guarantee exactly the final result until it's all fully signed up, sealed and delivered. But certainly everyone's working very hard, and there's a lot of people running around now with the construction schedule having commenced. The 22-month construction schedule for pouring of first gold is already well and truly in train. We're into the second month of it. And so everybody's running hard to keep faith, if you like, with the commitments made morally and shortly contractually by everybody. I hope I gave you a bit of a sense of the momentum of the company. We feel very happy to have set ourselves up with two exciting complementary projects. We feel very unhappy at the capital market's reaction to that in respect of the share price. We feel the pain as shareholders and as managers. I feel very sensitive to the fact that we have extremely hard-working people working hours every day, 7 days a week, in extreme conditions, under duress at times, and the share price appears to be behaving consistently to go down every time they put a run on the board. So I think personally it's only a matter of time, but that's my conviction. We're doing the right thing on the ground. We feel very confident about the projects, and we look forward to reaping the fruits of it in the future. Thank you.